Today we will talk about plug gauges along with dial calipers. In this particular exercise, you'll note that there are different types of plug gauges, also called pin gauges. You have your single purpose, which, as you can see here, are go, no-go members, those which have a go and a no-go. And we have progressive, those where the go and no-go are at the same side, on the same side, and then you're able to measure different parts and see if parts meet specifications. In our tool set today, we have a pin gauge set here of 0.061 inches up to 0.250. The next set is 0.251 inches up to 0.500 inches, half an inch. We are also going to be using a dial caliper out of your set today, your Anytime tool set. 0 to 1 6-inch calipers with dial. And what we're going to do is measure a couple components. Before we get too far, once again, on this particular lab, you will fill in the CMM test block. In this case, it's Y. You'll add your name and then the date. And what we will do, we'll fill out the light-colored portion here, and then or should I say non-colored portion, on both sides here and here. You do not fill in anything in the gray area. Okay, now in your handout you will also notice there is a drawing of the CMM test block. So we're going to do it this way. We're going to find out what E is. E is this particular diameter right here. Right here. Right there. Okay, if you go in here and you try the 0.500 pin, it's too tight. It will not go in. 0.49, you just barely try to push it in. You don't try to push it hard. Now that one went in fine. It's snug, but you're not trying to remove metal off the pin or off the actual part. So we would write down 0.499 right here on plug gauge. And you will measure it a couple of times. You will, take another pin and try it again. And as far as a pin gauge, plug gauge test, more than likely you're going to get the same pin each time. But for the sake of making sure, you will go in and measure again. Check your 0.5 again. It's still, well, that time it went in. There must have been a piece of material or something stopping the pin from going in. So I would write 0.500. Back it out again. Maybe try the other end of the pin. Okay, it went in again. 0.500. And then when you do your calculations on your Excel spreadsheet, you will just average those and give me that number. Now, another good way to verify these is to use your dial caliper. In this case, make sure it's being cleaned. Pull it together, make sure there's no metal shavings or dirt or dust, and then make sure it's zeroed out. And then you're going to use this back side to roughly get a good feel for what the diameter is. You just lightly pull on this dial here to make it go snug. You'll notice it's varying between 0.499 and 0.500. In your earlier demonstrations, you notice that that's 0.4 inch, and then that's just a hair right at 0.500, 0.498, 0.499 on the dial. And then you would write down, in this particular case, 0.499. Now, using your other measurement block, we're going to do something similar. We're going to look at hole 1. Hole 1, we're going to start out with the dial caliper because we really don't know what that dimension is, and this might get us in the ballpark a lot quicker than picking up a whole bunch of pins. It looks like it's 0.250, maybe 0.249. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with 0.249, put it in there. It's pretty loose, kind of sloppy. 0.250. Remember, I'm just lightly holding the pen, trying to push it into the hole. That was a little snugger, a little tighter. And then I try this particular pen, which is 0.251. It's going in fine, but it's really tight. And then I try 0.252. It doesn't want to go in. So we would go back with the 0.251 pen, and that's what we have. 0.251. Just like the other, they write down the dimension earlier that we obtained on the dial caliper. Like we obtained earlier, you keep checking with different pins because you could have dirt build up, or maybe there's a piece of metal in here, and you're looking for the best result. As I said earlier, I'm going to give you a sheet that's already been filled out by hand, and then you will type those values from these columns here into the spreadsheet and do your average, and then you'll turn that in for the laboratory. Thank you for joining me.